This is Tony T here from TonySpeaks.com with our free college football show here for Friday, November 29th. We're going to have all 14 picks from the 14 games on Friday. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. And if you're looking for my best bets, my pre and plays, click that link in the description. That'll take you to my page here over at TonySpeaks.com. So let's get this one underway. Ball State and Ohio college football pick for Friday. Ball State drops to 3-8 after their 38-13 home defeat to Bowling Green. The Cardinals gained 254 yards, 43 rushing for 1.8 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 362 yards to the Falcons with 259 passing yards on 30 attempts. Caden Simonza, 19-37 passing for 211 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ohio improved to 8-3, a 24-7 road win at Toledo. The Bobcats put up 367 yards, 238 rushing for 4.4 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 212 yards to the Rockets with 39 rushing on 25 attempts. Parker Navarro, 11 of 19 passing for 129 yards and a pick. He rushed for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ball State's road defense has been poor as they surrender 45 points per game with 6 yards per rush and 320 passing yards for 9.9 yards per pass attempt. They have struggled on the road with both running and the pass. Ohio's defense has held opponents at 12.4 points per game and now scoring their opponents by 20 points a game. The Bobcats at home rush for 4.9 yards per carry and complete 71% of their passes for 9.5 yards per pass attempt. Ohio's covered 4 of 5 at home. Pick here, Ohio, minus 15. Miami, Ohio, and Bowling Green college football pick Friday. Miami, Ohio now 7-4 with their 20-9 home win in Northern Illinois. The Redhawks gained 324 yards, 87 rushing for 3.1 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 242 yards to the Huskies with 114 passing on 35 attempts. Brett Gabbert here, 14-23 passing for 207 yards and a pick. Bowling Green 7-4 with their 38-24 road win at Ball State. The Falcons put up 362 yards, 103 rushing for 2.5 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 254 yards to the Cardinals with 43 rushing on 24 carries. Connor Bazelak, 18-29 passing for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Redhawks in their past 3 games are holding opponents at 12.3 points per game, 2.7 yards per run, 5 yards per pass attempt. They've rushed for 4.9 yards a carry, 8.3 yards per pass attempt in this span. The Falcons have 2 home losses this season. It's a 6-game win streak for the Redhawks. They are 4-1 to the spread on the road against winning teams. Bowling Green 0-2 to the spread at home facing teams with a 600 to 750 win percentage. The pick here, Miami, Ohio, plus the 2. Oklahoma State and Colorado college football picks Friday. We have Oklahoma State dropping to 3-8 after a 56-48 home defeat to Texas Tech. The Cowboys gained 508 yards, 155 rushing for 5 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 543 yards to the Red Raiders with 404 passing yards on 53 attempts. Maliki Smith completed 26-36 passes for 326 yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick. The true freshman had a rushing touchdown in his starting debut. Colorado 8-3 after their 37-21 road defeat at Kansas. The Buffs put up 308 yards, 42 rushing for 3.2 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 521 yards to the Jayhawks with 331 rushing for 5.8 yards per run. Shadur Sanders here, 23 of 29 passing for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oklahoma State's form poor as in their past 3 games, allowing 45 points per game with 71% completion rate for 8.4 yards per pass attempt. Opponents are passing for 334 yards per game in this period against the Cowboys. Oklahoma State has failed to cover 7 of 8 against the Big 12, with Colorado 7-1 of the spread against the conference. The Buffs against the Big 12 have held teams to 3.9 yards per rush, 58% completion rate. The pick here, Colorado, minus 16.5. All right, we got Minnesota and Wisconsin college football pick Saturday. Minnesota fell to 6-5 with their 26-25 home defeat to Penn State. The Golden Gophers gained 281 yards, 106 rushing for 2.9 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 361 yards to the Lions with 244 passing yards on 28 attempts. Max Bromsmer, 15 of 23 passing for 175 yards with a touchdown and pick. Wisconsin 5-6 with a 44-25 road defeat at Nebraska. The Badgers produced 407 yards, 115 rushing for 4.6 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 473 yards to the Cornhuskers with 293 passing yards on 38 attempts. Braden Locke, 20 of 30 passing for 292 yards with 3 touchdowns and a pick. Wisconsin is 1 win away from bowl eligibility. The Golden Gophers' offense has been poor on the road as they rush for 2.6 yards a carry, 5.8 yards per pass attempt. The Badgers at home hold opponents to 19.8 points per game. Pick here, Wisconsin, -2. Oregon State and Boise State college football pick Saturday. Oregon State now 5-6 after a 41-38 home win to Washington State. The Beavers gained 584 yards, 170 rushing for 4 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 384 yards to the Cougars with 250 passing yards on 23 attempts. Ben Gabronson, 22 of 34 passing for 294 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. He had a rushing touchdown. Boise State now 10-1, a 17-13 road win in Wyoming. The Broncos put up 352 yards, 185 rushing for 6.2 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 319 yards to the Cowboys with 203 passing yards on 27 attempts. Maddox Madsen here, 14 of 26 passing for 167 yards in the game. The Beavers in their past 3 games averaging 237 yards passing per game with 7.6 yards per pass attempt. The Broncos in this period allowing 294 yards passing for 8.5 yards per pass attempt. The Beavers are 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Boise State's been in some close calls here with teams within a possession of them in the fourth quarter in several of the past games. Play here, Oregon State +18. Navy and East Carolina college football pick. This one here on Saturday. Navy fell to 7-3 after their 35-0 home defeat to Tulane. The midshipmen gained 113 yards, 100 rushing for 2.9 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 358 yards to the Mean Green with 220 rushing for 4.6 yards a carry. Quarterback Blake Horvath suffered an injury. He's questionable here. Braxton Woodson in relief went 3 of 10 for 13 yards and a pick. He rushed for 24 yards on 13 carries. East Carolina 7-4 after their 40-28 road win at North Texas. The Pirates posted 553 yards, 255 rushing for 4.5 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 447 yards to the Mean Green with 181 rushing for 5 yards per rush. Kane Hauser here, 16 of 23 passing for 298 yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick. Quarterback injury to Horvath, a massive concern here for Navy. The Pirates have won 4 straight. At home, ECU averages 39 points per game, and they rush for 4.5 yards a carry and throw for 298 yards with 9.7 yards per pass attempt. At home, they limit opponents to 18.5 points per game with 2.9 yards per rush. In their past 3 games, the midshipmen are averaging 13 points per game with 4.2 yards per rush, 4.4 yards per pass attempt. ECU is covered 4 of 5 at home. Play here, East Carolina, -2.5. Texas State and South Alabama college football pick Saturday. All right, Texas State fell to 6-5 with a 52-44 home defeat to Georgia State. The Bobcats gained 459 yards, 157 rushing for 4.2 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 504 yards to the Panthers with 285 passing yards on 26 attempts. Jordan McLeod, 28-44 passing for 302 yards with 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. South Alabama, they sit here at 6-5 with a 35-14 road win at Southern Miss. The Jaguars put up 380 yards, 187 rushing for 6.9 yards per carry. Defensively, they allowed 306 yards to the Golden Eagles with 137 passing yards on 36 attempts. Gio Lopez, 15-24 passing for 193 yards with 3 touchdowns. The Bobcats on the road have put up 32 points per game with 5.1 yards per rush, 7.2 yards per pass attempt. In their past 3 games, they've put up 47 points a contest. The Jaguars' pass defense in their past 3 games allowing 68% completion rate. The Jaguars 1-4 the spread at home against a winning team. Play here, Texas State at -1. Mississippi State and Ole Miss college football pick for Friday. Mississippi State fell to 2-9 after a 39-20 home defeat to Missouri. The Bulldogs gained 338 yards, 147 rushing for 6.7 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 372 yards to the Tigers with 268 passing on 20 attempts. Michael Van Buren completed 16 of 28 passes for 191 yards and a touchdown. Ole Miss fell to 8-3, a 24-17 road defeat at Florida. The Rebels put up 464 yards, 141 rushing for 4 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 344 yards to the Gators with 180 passing yards on 18 attempts. Jackson Dart, 24-41 passing for 323 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. He rushed for 71 yards. The Bulldogs, in their past 3 games, averaging 26 points per game, 6.3 yards per rush. Defensively, in this period, they allow 4 yards to carry on the ground. Ole Miss pass defense in poor form as in their past 3 games, allowing 66% completion rate for 9.5 yards per pass attempt. This all opens up a path to cover this big number here. Mississippi State has covered 3 of 4 on the road. Ole Miss 7-9 to the spread as a home favorite. Play here at Mississippi State plus 26. Liberty and Sam Houston State college football pick Saturday. Liberty now 8-2 after a 38-21 home win at Western Kentucky. The Flames gained 556 yards, 419 rushing for 6.7 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 368 yards to the Hilltoppers with 262 passing yards on 34 attempts. Caden Salter, 6 of 11 passing for 108 yards and a touchdown. He rushed for 66 yards and a score. Sam Houston State 8-3 after a 21-11 road defeat to Jacksonville State. The Bearcats put up 159 yards, 175 rushing for 4.5 yards a carry. Hunter Watson 13 of 25 passing for 84 yards. He rushed for 105 yards and a score. Liberty has been efficient offensively against the Conference USA with 5.8 yards per rush, 8 yards per pass attempt. Their offensive form in the past 3 games producing better numbers. Sam Houston has struggled to generate offense in the conference. Their offensive form worse the past 3 games. They averaged 14 points per game, 4.2 yards per rush, 5 yards per pass attempt. Liberty 5-1 of the spread on the road against winning teams. The Bearcats 3-6 of the spread at home. The pick here, Liberty -3. Utah State and Colorado State college football pick. This one here on Friday. All right, we got Utah State now 4-7 after a 41-20 victory to San Diego State. The Aggies gained 488 yards, 322 rushing for 6.4 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 412 yards to the Aztecs with 188 rushing for 4.9 yards a carry. Spencer Petras is questionable with an injury. Bryson Barnes in relief, 13 of 15 passing for 139 yards with 3 touchdowns. He rushed for 193 yards and a score. Colorado State drops to 7-4, a 28-22 road defeat at Fresno State. The Rams posted 402 yards, 100 rushing for 3.3 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 333 yards to the Bulldogs with 152 rushing for 4.8 yards a carry. Braden Fowler Nicolosi, 23 of 45 passing for 203 yards with a touchdown. He rushed for a score in the game. The Aggies' offensive form good as in their past 3 games, averaging 41 points per game, 7 yards per rush, 69% completion rate. The Rams averaged only 24 points per game at home. The Rams lost control of a berth to the Mountain West title here. With that loss at Fresno State, they now need help. The pick here, Utah State, +6. Stanford and San Jose State college football pick Saturday. Stanford drops to 3-8 after the 24-21 road defeat at Cal. The Golden Bears gained at 371 yards, 72 rushing for 2.4 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 259 yards to the Cardinal with 118 rushing for 3 yards a carry. Ashton Daniels, 14-26 passing for 139 yards. He rushed for 63 yards in the game. San Jose State sits at 6-5 after a 27-16 home defeat to UNLV. The Spartans posted 112 yards with 31 rushing on 25 carries. Defensively, they held the Rebels to 338 yards with 207 rushing yards for 3.2 yards a carry. Walker Eggett, 4 of 12 passing in a rainstorm for 81 yards and a touchdown. The Cardinal in their past 3 games allowing 39 points per game with 5.4 yards per rush, 70% completion rate. With better weather forecasted here, the Spartans' passing attack can return to form. The Spartans at home throwing for 309 yards per game, 8.2 yards per pass attempt. They held their opponents at home to 3.3 yards per rush. Stanford 1-7 of the spread on the road, facing a team that averages 5.9 yards per play or greater. Pick here is San Jose State, -3. Nebraska and Iowa college football pick for Friday. Nebraska improved to 6-5 with a 44-25 home win to Wisconsin. The Cornhuskers gained 473 yards, 180 rushing for 5 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 407 yards to the Badgers, 292 passing on 30 attempts. Dylan Raiola, 28-38 passing for 293 yards with a touchdown. Iowa 7-4, a 29-13 road win at Maryland. The Hawkeyes gained 374 yards, 268 rushing for 4.6 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 227 yards to the Terrapins with 129 passing on 31 attempts. It was Cade McNamara returning to practice and hoped to be cleared to play. McNamara completes 60% of his passes for 5.9 yards per pass attempt. Iowa in Big Ten play has defended well, allowing 19 points per game, 5.8 yards per pass attempt. They're running for over 5 yards a carry against the conference. Nebraska on the road putting up only 18 points a game, 4 yards per rush, 5.7 yards per pass attempt. Cornhuskers' pass defense on the road is poor, allowing a 76% completion rate for 8.8 yards per pass attempt. The pick here will be Iowa, -4. Georgia Tech and Georgia college football pick Saturday. All right, Friday. We got Friday games here. Georgia Tech 7-4 after their 30-29 home win to NC State. The Yellow Jackets gained 391 yards, 119 rushing for 3.3 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 400 yards to the Wolfpack with 253 rushing for 8.7 yards a carry. Haynes King 3 of 3 passes for 7 yards. He rushed for 18 yards to score. Aaron Fields saw the bulk work, going 19 of 33 passing for 265 yards and a touchdown. He rushed for 57 yards and a touchdown. Georgia now 9-2, a 59-21 home win to UMass. The Bulldogs posted 550 yards, 208 rushing for 5.6 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 351 yards to the Minutemen with 226 rushing for 5.7 yards a carry. Carson Beck completed 20 of 31 passes for 297 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Bulldogs in their past 3 games allowing 22 points per game with 4.5 yards per rush, 7.1 yards per pass attempt. Georgia Tech in this period put up 6 points per game, 4.9 yards per rush, 68% completions for 9.3 yards per pass attempt. They have defended well in this span, allowing 17 points per game with 3.4 yards per rush, 6.3 yards per pass attempt. Georgia has failed to cover 4 of 5 at home this season. Play Georgia Tech +19. Utah and UCF college football picks for Friday. Utah fell to 4-7, a 31-29 home defeat to Iowa State. The Utes gained 224 yards, 95 rushing for 3.4 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 405 yards to the Cyclones with 282 passing yards on 39 attempts. Luke Batari completed 5 of 9 passes for 55 yards. He rushed for 47 yards in the game. 4 Utes quarterbacks have been injured, so Batari gets the start here. UCF falls to 4-7, 31-21 road defeat at West Virginia. The Knights put up 348 yards, 176 rushing for 5.2 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 318 yards to the Mountaineers with 200 rushing yards for 3.7 yards a carry. Dylan Risk, 11 of 21 passes for 172 yards and a touchdown. UCF in their past 3 games put up 36 points per game with 5.7 yards per rush, 8.7 yards per pass attempt. In this period, they're holding opponents to 2.7 yards per run. The Utes offense in this period poor, 3.1 yards a carry and 6 yards per pass attempt. In this span, they're allowing 7.4 yards per pass attempt. The Utah has failed to cover 4 of 5 on the road. Quarterback situation, the issue here for the Utes. Play here, UCF, -9.5. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. And if you're looking for my best bets, my premium plays, click that link in the description. That will take you to my page here at Tony'sPicks.com. And if you like this video, give us a like, a thumbs up. You really help our channel. I'm Tony T. We'll talk with you later.